Imagine a world where the leader of over 1 billion people is chosen in secret, behind the ancient walls of the Vatican. That moment is almost here. On March 3, 2025, 115 cardinals will gather to elect a new pope, and one name is sparking whispers: Cardinal Luis Tagle. Could this humble Filipino, a man Pope Francis calls a kindred spirit, rise from the streets of Manila to the papal throne? Or will tradition hold firm, keeping power in familiar hands? This is not just about robes and rituals. It is about a global institution facing modern challenges: poverty, climate change, and shifting beliefs. The next pope will need to confront these issues head-on. Pope Francis, now 88 years old, has spent over a decade pushing for a church that embraces the forgotten, the outcast, and the marginalized. His ally, Cardinal Tagle, embodies this vision. He is a cardinal who swapped luxury for simplicity, who rushed to aid typhoon victims, and who speaks to hearts across continents. But not everyone is cheering. Some see him as too progressive, a risk to centuries of tradition. Others, like Cardinal Pietro Parolin, are waiting in the wings, ready to steer a steadier course. In this video, we will uncover Tagle's journey, his bond with Pope Francis, and the quiet power struggle shaping the Catholic Church's future. Born in 1957 in Manila, Philippines, Tagle did not grow up chasing power. His story starts in a modest home, grounded in a community where faith and struggle walked hand in hand. With a sharp mind and a compassionate heart, he studied theology, earning a doctorate but never losing touch with the people. By 2011, he was Archbishop of Manila, leading one of the world's largest Catholic dioceses, a role that thrust him onto the global stage. Tagle is not a typical church leader. Instead of clinging to wealth or status, he rode public buses, lived simply, and opened his doors to the poor. During Typhoon Haiyan in 2013, when disaster crushed the Philippines, Tagle did not just pray from afar. He rushed to the wreckage, comforting families and rallying aid. That moment earned him a nickname, Asia's Francis. Like Pope Francis, he believes the church should meet people where they hurt most. It is no wonder that overseas Filipino workers cheered when he became a cardinal in 2012. Here was a leader who understood them. His rise did not stop there. In 2015, Tagle took the helm of Caritas Internationalis, a massive Catholic charity spanning 165 countries. He tackled hunger, climate change, and refugee crises, proving he could bridge cultures and causes. Then, in 2019, Pope Francis handed him a game-changer, the role of Red Pope, head of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples. This job oversees missionary work across Asia, Africa, and Latin America, regions where Catholicism is booming. Nearly half of the world's 1.3 billion Catholics now live in these areas. Tagle's task: shape the church's future there. Tagle once said, "Listening disposes you to love," a simple idea with deep roots. He is not about preaching from a pedestal. He is about connection. That resonates today as people crave leaders who tackle real-world issues: poverty, inequality, a warming planet, without losing sight of faith and hope. But can a man so tied to the margins climb to the top? When Pope Francis became pope in 2013, he had a vision: a church for the poor, not the powerful. He found a perfect ally in Tagle. Both men share a rare outlook: compassion over rigid rules, dialogue over division, action over empty words. It is a vision that is personal for Francis, who grew up in Argentina amid economic hardship, and for Tagle, who saw the same in Manila's crowded streets. Their collaboration hit a high note in 2019, when Francis named Tagle prefect of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples. This is not a ceremonial title. It is a powerhouse role directing missionary efforts across continents where the church is growing fastest. Asia alone has over 140 million Catholics. Africa has nearly 240 million. Latin America tops 425 million. Francis did not just pick Tagle for his resume. He saw a leader who could carry his dream forward, especially in regions shaping the faith's future. But not everyone is on board with this duo's bold path. Behind the serene smiles and sacred halls, a silent tug-of-war is unfolding. Reformers versus traditionalists. And the stakes could not be higher. The soul of a church serving 1.3 billion people worldwide. Pope Francis kicked things off in 2013 by shaking up a centuries-old system. He condemned clerical privilege, pushed for transparency in Vatican finances, and spoke out on hot-button issues like migration and climate change. Tagle is right beside him, amplifying that call with his focus on the poor and his knack for bridging cultures. But not everyone is clapping. Conservative cardinals, some with deep roots in Rome, see this shift as a betrayal. They argue it dilutes doctrine, trading eternal truths for trendy cause.